Sidney Crosby has been the hottest player since the beginning of the year, and it's quite shown to see how his team, the Pittsburgh Penguins, have vaulted themselves into the Metro second place in the Metro Division, I should say, and I know this man is very happy about that. You look at what Sidney Crosby has done since the beginning of the year. He's vaulted himself to about third in league scoring, and I think he's starting to emerge as the Hart Trophy favorite. Do you guys say that he is the league MVP?
Oh, that's tough.
That is a tough one.
This is where you're like we've said before, it's historically given to the guy who leads the league, who's that. But when you look, okay, so Patrick Kane's your leading scorer, but he plays for the Hawks, and the Hawks is the Hawks. Let's be honest here. Then you have Crosby in that mix, and he was terrible. Like, we actually had a conversation here if Crosby's past his prime back in September,
and
October.
He's only in his late 20s, which is odd when you think about a guy who's past his prime.
Yeah.
If you go by the saying that who's most valuable to their team, it's Sidney Crosby. Because without him, the Penguins are not even close to the playoffs. Take Patrick Kane out, the Hawks probably still make the playoffs, and they're still a favorite. I don't think Patrick Kane he's a great player, and he's easily one of the top 2, 3 right now. But if he's not in the lineup, do the Hawks miss the playoffs? No.
They make the playoffs. I don't see them winning it without him, though.
Pittsburgh doesn't even make the playoffs without Crosby.
No,
so
then it was greater value.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I would have almost said he would have been out of the running even for a nomination, but with the Senators being out, I think that rules out Erik Karlsson as a candidate. But I think we're still forgetting Braden Holtby is only 2 wins off of Martin Brodeurs' record of 49 regular season wins. And I know the Capitals are a high-scoring team, but he's kind of played a Grant Fuhr role where he just comes up with big saves at big times, and he's still a league leader in or top amongst league leaders in every statistical category. So you have to think Kane probably gets that forward vote for his total points. Holtby is going to get votes for, certainly if he breaks the record, and that might leave Crosby as the third man out.
All right, guys, how about this? The Toronto Blue Jays, they've been, well, at least last season, they've done very well. This season, it's only 2 games in. They're wrapping up their series in Tampa. They already won the series, but they look pretty good. Marcus Stroman has shown signs, has got Jays very giddy. It's a small sample size, but he went 9 innings. The last Blue Jays starter to go 9 innings on opening day was back in '92. Won the World Series, by the way. Then you look at a guy like R.A. Dickey, who was on the mound last night for the team, and he had a fantastic outing. His knuckler is actually looking more like a knuckleball now, whereas for him, it takes a good month to almost 2 months before he finds his groove. With that said, I know it's early. They're not going to go 162-0. I know that. But you got to think.
Way to break the streak.
You got to think, though. Did we learn anything about the Blue Jays now, and do they look like the team to beat in the AL East going forward?
I'd say that you nailed it on the head to start with, Stroman. They lost him the entire season last year, and he made that miraculous recovery to come back in the playoffs. I think they're prepared to say that he's an ace now. He's going to be an elite pitcher, and he showed that by going, as you said, almost the complete distance of the game in the season opener. I think if Stroman can be healthy throughout the season and give them the type of starts they got from Price, who's now obviously with the Red Sox, that will give them, just so much confidence to be able to bang away with their bats. And I think the question for me is, and we'll find out later today, is Sanchez. If he's really going to be a quality starting pitcher, if he's ready to take that step. If he is, then yeah, I think they're a lock for the playoffs at this point. They've still got lots of offensive power.
Was it 5 home runs in the first 2 games? I think that's what it is. And so they're showing that last year wasn't a fluke, and the year before that they're still consistently hitting balls out of the park and being that high-scoring team that they need to be in order to win. Because eventually, pitching that's their weak point. And if you can get consistent pitching and have that offense, throwing up 7, 8, 9, 10 runs a game like they were starting to do in June, July, then you got a team that's built for the playoffs, possibly even more, 162-0.
This is a team that definitely, you're calling it?
That's bold, man.
I will say this, that's extremely dramatic on your part, Andrew, and we're going to move forward with the drama. We are going to move forward with some drama. However, this one is more of a reality show considering the circumstances. The LA Lakers have been a sideshow, period, this entire year, or the last few years leading up to the whole swan song for Kobe Bryant, but things have gone from bad to what seemingly is worse with the whole case of D'Angelo Russell, Nick Young, Swaggy P, if you will, and of course his, I guess, soon-to-be wife, maybe former wife, as you just saw on the screen, Iggy Azalea, the rapper. it turns out with the whole situation, there was a video that surfaced. D'Angelo Russell recorded a conversation unbeknownst to Nick Young about hooking up with a 19-year-old girl at a club. Now, it's not so much that he was hooking up with a 19-year-old girl was the issue, but again, like I said, Nick Young, Swaggy P, is engaged to Iggy Azalea. So it got so bad for Russell that the teammates on the Lakers avoided having lunch with him, would actually move away from him. It got so bad with Russell that he actually had to come out publicly and apologize. Now, Nick Young says he accepts it, but you got to look at this going forward. Did D'Angelo Russell, I guess in this case, break a code of ethics when it comes, an unwritten code when it comes to the locker room? And Josh, I know you played volleyball. There's a lot of things that might be said in the locker room. What do you make of this?
There are a lot of things said. I just think that our whole reaction to this has been a little bit too simplistic in some ways, in that it's a bonehead thing he did. It's obvious a bonehead thing he did. We're still missing the fact that we're not focusing on a guy. It's more problematic for us that a guy videotaped someone and then put it online rather than, or allegedly put it online, rather than another man breaking his fidelity to his fiance. So you know, we're okay with jumping on the racist comments of Hulk Hogan when he says something really bad, but if it's kind of just a minutia of race, we don't want to touch it. It's only when we can kind of jump on the bad guy, it feels like. So it feels like we've kind of taken a bit of a...
But where do you stop? And I guess I'm going to play devil's advocate with that, and now, Andrew, I want you to follow up with this as well.
Oh, yeah.
You have a guy who is engaged. Yes, I know we should not forget that Nick Young is guilty in this situation if the allegations are true. But could have D'Angelo Russell, instead of recording it, maybe talk to the guy, do something that would have been an alternative to actually broadcasting, hey, by the way, Iggy, your soon-to-be husband, he's cheating on you on the road. What do you say to this, Andrew?
That's got to be a great teammate. Like, how do you even go about that? Like, I don't even honestly don't know what to make of it. I don't care half of it because it's just like a bunch of millionaires making money, having problems, and doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. One's doing, like, both guys are doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, and now they're internal fighting amongst themselves on a team that's terrible.
You know, we're forgetting that he's a 20-year-old kid who maybe had one semester of college before going off to play in the pros. It's obviously a boneheaded thing, but, you know, how many boneheaded things have we done when we were 20, 19?
Things this week. Like,
yeah, but we didn't involve social media to the extent that you see with guys nowadays putting stuff on Snapchat, Instagram, you name it. And you talk about a guy who's 20 years old who's acting really like a 13-year-old, if you ask me, saying, oh, this is going to be a good idea, I want to post this video. No, I think there was a certain code that was broken in the sense that Nick Young, what he did was wrong, but he should have been directed about it. He should have came up front with it and stopped it.
I think it's more just, for me, it's the overall overreaction of people to D'Angelo Russell. He obviously broke the locker room code. He obviously did something that, as you said, a 13-year-old would know, this might not be a good idea. But I just think that it's just in the internet age where you have so much rage online and there's no filter for it. So it's just one more thing that we are just a little too enraged about, I guess.
I want to get to this really quick. I want to get your quick comments because this is just too funny to leave out. Now, Matt Harvey had a serious condition with his bladder, so much so that he had to get surgery. He's fine. However, when you play in New York, the city of New York, they are going to take those headlines and run with it, good, bad, or indifferent. And that was the case for the Mets pitcher. Now, Matt Harvey, in his particular wisdom, has decided to shun the media after comments about his bladder came out. So you heard, you're in luck, whiz kid. Field of streams, a lot of these jokes pertaining to his bladder. He didn't like it. He's refusing to talk to the media, hasn't talked to the media since. I'm thinking, yes, it was a serious issue, but at the same time, maybe you need to lighten up. Am I fair for saying that?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of lightening up that needs to happen lately. Like, you're in New York. It's the equivalent of playing hockey in Toronto. Everything you do is a story, and everything you do can be made fun of. That's life. That's how it is. And you probably shouldn't be playing baseball in New York if you don't expect that to happen, especially from the daily news there. Let's be honest.
Okay, that's it, and we'll get you to make the final comment.
I'd love to play devil's advocate in saying that you know, if a guy's sensitive and it's a family thing or a personal thing, you can never know how it'll affect each person. But it's New York. That's exactly it. Regardless of whether you're playing baseball, football, hockey, basketball, it's New York. It's a paper that's known for outlandish, intentionally outlandish headlines, and it's more fun for their readership that way. And if you actually look at the article they wrote, they didn't disparage him in the article at all. They just reported the fact that he was scared, but he's okay, and they're going to move on.
Well, hopefully he just took pissed off to a whole new meaning and will now subside and just relax and relieve himself from the whole situation. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We're going to go to Over Under in just a few moments.